In this training video, I'm going to be covering how to work with item funding and funding packages in AASHTOWare project. In order to get to the funding, we're going to go to the contract administration. I'll search for my contract. Click into it. And now you'll see a funding tab. On the funding tab here, you can see the current funding packages for the contract. I have an option to add new or select existing fund packages. Each fund package has its unique ID. In the description, you'll see the individual fund IDs and their percentages in the description here. That's just for easy reference. And then on the right side here, you can note it says there's two funds. I want to go ahead and click into that. This will give us some additional information as we're looking at the fund package and the particular funds that are in it. So again, we've got kind of a similar information, just displayed a little bit differently. If we had multiple funds or fund packages, we'd be able to select from them here or be able to cycle through them with the arrow keys on this side. On the bottom half of the screen, I can see my individual fund packages. And here I see in a little bit more detail which funds are being used. So I can see this number 1, state highway cash. I have my priority, the percentage of funding that is being split between state highway cash and the earmarked funds. And then there's some additional informational fields that you're able to look at here as well. The main other information that you're going to want to see on here is the type. And you can see that this one is non-federal. Usually federal would be one of the other ones that you'd see, and occasionally you'll see other or state. If you have any question about what that funding should be, go ahead and talk with the construction office and they'll help you to determine what that should be. If there is a limit for a particular fund, you're able to hit that or enter that information here. If there's no limit, be sure to leave that blank so that it does continue to allow additional money to come out of the fund. And then these 3 fields are additional information, again, not required, and they're just optional. You can see if you're farther into the contract, you'll see these amount used on previous pay estimates, amount used on this particular payment, and the total amount used on all payment estimates, and any remaining amount. The remaining amount will only show up if there is a limit on that particular fund. I go ahead and just open up the earmarked fund here. We can see that it's the 80% and type federal, but then able to see some of that information in here. So I want to go ahead and create a fund package because, for instance, I might have like the city of Omaha would be paying for a certain part of the project or the contract. So I have a couple different ways that I can go ahead and create a new fund package. So back here on the funding tab, again, I have my new button and my select fund packages. When you click on the select fund packages and press enter on the filter here, you're able to see the different funds that we've pre-populated in the system. So we've gone through and created the most common ones, 100% state highway cash. We also have counties, and then we also have cities that are in this list. So if I want to make a fund package for Omaha, I can search through here, and I can see that I have one that is pre-made here. I could go ahead and select on that and add it to as a fund package. You can see that it populates with a fund package ID. It goes ahead and creates the description for me, and it shows that I have one fund in there. So I'm going to click into it. I want to see the details of it, see how it's set up, if it's what I want to have in there. And I can see I've got my priority set to 1. I have 100% that's going to come out of this. It's type non-federal. And so at this point, if I've worked with the construction office, or if I already know, then I'm able to go ahead and continue on to doing some fund package assignment. I'm going to go ahead and step back, though. I want to demonstrate the new button as well. So back here on the funding tab, I have the new button. And in this case, I can go ahead and just fill in the information manually. I may not know my fund package description at this point, and so I might just put in a temporary description, but I can hit save. Shows that I currently don't have any funds that are set up on this. I'm going to click into it. And now I have an option here to select funds. I do want to just see my full list here. So you can see there's 1,036 funds that are available to select from. And if I was wanting, like in our previous example, to search for Omaha, I can type that in, and I can see that there are several different fund packages that are available for Omaha. So if I was doing maybe a different type of split and needed to add multiple funds into this fund package, I'd be able to select those. I can also see I have this 4365D, which is 100%. I can come through and select that and add that to the fund package. I'd manually put in my priority. Percentage is already set. Be able to have my non-federal. If I had a particular limit, I could go ahead and put that in as well. Once I've got all my information filled out here, I can hit save. And now I have a third fund package. You can see that I have some of my information available to be able to switch between the different fund packages here. And you can see I haven't set my description yet. So I'd go back and be able to put in my actual description here. So just some examples for doing the data entry. I do also want to, in this video, demonstrate doing the fund package assignment. That'll be here in the quick links. And this screen is going to show where your different funding and categories are located. So on the left side of the screen here, what you're seeing is the particular contract. If you have multiple projects, you'll be able to see that as well. And then it breaks it down into each of the different categories. And AASHTOWare project actually even allows you to open those up, and you can see the individual items that are listed there. In this middle section here, you're seeing what funding has been applied. And on the right side, you're seeing the different fund packages that are available. You can see I have A, B, and C fund packages, and that matches here to the middle where I have A, B, and C for my different funding options. So if I wanted to apply fund package A to everything on the contract, I could actually, right here at the top, hit A on this radio button, and it would populate everything in the contract to A. I don't actually want that for what I'm working on here, but I will go ahead and demonstrate it. So you can see that it has set all that. And at that point, if that was the way I wanted to have this, I'd go ahead and hit save. Since I don't want to have it set that way, I'm going to refresh or reload my page. And that'll switch it back to what it was previously. And what I've actually set up here, you can see I have some mixed conditions. So on this group 10, or sorry, group 1 grading category, I had previously set up the crushed rock as a unattached item. We see that that item hasn't been assigned to the funding. And since we are doing funding at the category level, I can simply go across, make sure I'm on my category for group 1 grading, and I can select A to match it up with the rest of the items there. Likewise, I've actually created a change order, and I've put some street light poles that the city of Omaha would be paying for. And so I'd be able then, with my other funds, determine which one I want to be able to set my funding for that. So potentially that could be either B or C. Of course, I wouldn't necessarily have two identical ones like this, but it gives us the opportunity to see how I could actually go in and set those slightly differently. So that would actually then set the funding. If that's the way I want to go ahead and set up my funding, I can go ahead and hit save. And now all of my items, all of my categories are set up the way I want them to have. You can see we have a little bit of a warning message here. This is actually just for the unattached item that I talked about here in group 1 grading. And once that is put onto a change order that's approved, it'll actually be assigned a quantity so that it's not exceeded by 10. And then that warning message would go away at that point. That concludes the training for working with item funding and funding packages.